the 1 minute 23.6, last year's championship champion. He gets a good start in the front wheel drive. Bareback tries to beat him, but it's DTI Dave in BMW that comes off the line and comes round the outside going into turn 1, all clean up front. Looking back towards VX Dave's teammate Apex, and he's right in the thick of it. It's looking very close indeed between some of these guys. And now looking at Mark as he comes up alongside Brave. Yes, he gets up the inside. There's a little bit of contact, a little bit of pushing as they run wide. The three at the front, the same order as they came off the line. So DTI Dave in the fast starting BMW, and in the background there, Stig getting past, I think, one of the other Renaults. And as they come through onto the back straight, it's all pretty tight. The first three have gone away somewhat, but the rest of the guys coming out, and I think Stig, yes, Stig's off on the grass, unfortunately. That's not such a good start from Stig there. So we go on board with Bareback through the final corners, fast corners towards the end of the track here. And VX Dave running a little bit wide there, Bareback on his tail, and they're coming up now the final corner, sideways again from VX Dave. Bareback looking at this stage to have slightly better traction, slightly more grip as they come up the hill. All three of them together. Bareback slipstreaming in the second of those Renaults, the green Renault there. Trying to put VX Dave under some pressure behind. Not much change of position between the rest of the guys. And we're going to have a look at Corder's last year's championship runner-up. And he's trying to put pressure on VX Dave. Teammate there, Apex, in the Cordless in the red and blue Renault, and Apex is sandwiched between those two teammates. It's Cordless down there in 6th, Mark in 4th, and Apex in between. A little bit further back, not too much going on. I think it was Simon, Extreme Beef, just hopping over the curb there. And now we look as we come onto the back straight. Is there any chance of a manoeuvre here? Looks like Apex has got a better run. I think Mark just ran a little bit wide over the curb, and he could take this position as they head down into the hairpin. VX Dave up front there, putting DTI Dave under some pressure in the BMW there. And it looks like, yes, Apex has taken the position. Sensible driving for both of these guys. Mark just sensibly drops in behind. And now we're going to look back at the front runners. Once again, look at all three of them so close together. And we're back on board with Bareback. Again, getting a better exit out the final turn. And he's up the inside of VX. He tries to shut the door, realises he can't quite do it. He turned himself over front of Bareback. That was very sensible driving again from these guys. All looking good. And Bareback now gets up alongside, but VX Dave, he's got the slipstream of the BMW. Can he just about pull ahead? Yes, he can. He just about stops on the right. Oh, DTI Dave spins in the BMW, and VX Dave just breaks out of the way. DTI Dave comes back on, makes contact with Bareback, and that was, oh, this is the BMW with a fair bit of damage. The race leader there looked like he lost it, just a little bit too much power coming out of that first corner, heading into the second corner, and that is a big shame for DTI Dave, who had a tremendous start and really had a lot of speed at the beginning of the race there. And looking a little bit further up, we haven't looked at Lee much so far, so Lee there in the yellow and red Renault, I think, sorry, the red and yellow Momo livery car, being hunted down at the moment by Skids, who's doing a good job in 7th, having I think started 9th for this. Skids looking at making the move, but it keeps it clean as they go into the hairpin. Good driving from these guys. Out front, VX Dave, he has pulled away a little bit from Bareback. Bareback does look to be the quicker of the two Renaults at the moment. Could be carrying a little bit of damage after that, after the BMW spun back onto the track. And VX Dave's teammate there in a solid 3rd place after a good drop. Who else have we got close together at the moment then? These guys are looking very racy indeed. So this is Lee in the Momo car, followed closely by Jimbo Skids in another red and yellow Renault. But not teammates. Lee teammating up with Danny, a lot brave, and Skids teammate to Sammy. Sammy currently running 11th, having a bit of a quiet race actually, but the car looking very clean and tidy, and Sammy doing a good job as always to stay out of trouble. Now, I think we missed Brave sliding around on the first lap, unfortunately spun out of contention, but seems to be getting the grips of the car a little bit better now, and he's now chasing down this battle pack, DTI Dave from BMW. Who's that now? That's Mark in 8th. You can see what happened to Mark. So Mark's dropped back quite a way, unfortunately. He was up with his teammate earlier, and Skids has managed to get to 5th. He seems to be missing all the action, and I think that was Brave. I think lost it again in the Renault. Goodness me, yes. Yeah, a big off, another big off, unfortunately for Brave. Stig, of course, out. And now here's the battle. This is the battle for 7th place. So we've got Simon on the inside in the green Renault, and we have got Mark on the outside in the red and blue, and we have DTI Dave in the rather battered BMW 3 Series, the one remaining 3 Series in this race. And they all go into turn 1 gently. DTI Dave trying it up the inside, can't quite make the move, he backs out of it. Sensible driving from these three. DTI Dave almost up the inside, bit of rock up. Now Simon's gone wide, that gives a chance, and through goes Mark, through goes DTI Dave, and you see Lee having a bit of a moment a little bit further ahead. Skids in 5th. Up front, Bareback has dropped away a little bit from VX Dave, but is now finding himself coming under pressure slightly from VX Dave's teammates. Apex, who's just a little bit further behind at the moment. And as we look at the final few bends here, there is Bareback on board, and we can see Apex perhaps dropping off a little bit through these faster corners. It does seem to be where Bareback has the pace in this race, and not really any chances there for any overtakes. DTI Dave back on board with him, and we're chasing down Mark. Again, those front wheel drive cars seem to just be burning up the front left a little bit. So coming out the final turn, there's BMW with a slight advantage. But you can't really discount anyone. You look back and you can see Simon still managed to stay really on the case with these guys, and he's staying in the slipstream, doing a fantastic job on his debut in the green, two-tone green Renault. And a little bit of a slide there from DTI Dave. That potentially gives it a little bit of a chance for Simon to take the move back, and again lock up from the Renaults. It does seem to be where they are struggling a little bit, locking up on the brakes. BMW is very quick through this tight section. I think Mark just ran a little bit wide there. Is that going to give DTI Dave a chance on the straight? He's quick coming out the corner. Mark ducks to the inside, flash of the lights from DTI Dave in the battered BMW, and they head down the back straight towards the hairpin. Let's see what happens in here. Is there an opportunity for a move? All three of these cars really close together. It's actually Extreme Beef who's good on the brakes, but he runs a little bit deeper. Now, DTI Dave's managed to get up the inside. That puts him on the outside for the next corner. Mark bounces over Kelvin on the inside. DTI Dave loses it in the BMW. Oh, such a shame. Second time this race. He'll be really kicking himself for that. And yeah, that really is quite sad for him. And Mark, oh, Mark's now lost it. Mark's gone deep. He's on the grass. He's on the gravel. And there we go. Look. There's Simon taking 7th position with only a couple of laps to go. He'll be really pleased if he can hang on to that. That would be a fantastic debut. And these guys are really battling out. And look, now we've got Vince Dave's teammate, there we go, it's Apex, and he's really putting the pressure on Bareback. This could be a good comeback drive, really good comeback drive from Apex. The possibility of the second place here. We've only got a couple of laps to go, that lap and a half. They both bounce over the curb. These guys are quite similar on pace. Bareback perhaps running a little bit wide. Apex very neat and tidy out the corner, but Bareback car does not seem short of pace whatsoever. Perhaps Apex has got a little more pace as we head down the straight here. It certainly seems that way, but of course Slipstream playing a little bit of part, so reasonably quick straight up to about 140 miles per hour. That, and yeah, I think we'll just stay on board with Apex as we come through the final few bends before heading on to the last lap. VX Dave seems to have done enough at the moment, barring any silly mistakes. It just seems to just have the legs on these guys. Obviously it's harder when these guys are battling to keep up the ultimate pace, but it does seem that way. If we we just look at the trackside views here, coming into turn 1, Apex looking pretty handy. He's got a lot of speed on the slipstream. Oh goodness me, has he gone for a move, or was that was perhaps just diving out of the way of bareback on the brakes? And yeah, Apex just avoiding a bit of a collision there. Unfortunately, might have lost his chance of battling for second here. We'll see. We've got 3/4 of a lap left to go, but of course that has now dropped him back a little way, and he'll be kicking himself, I think, over that. Although perhaps he didn't really have much choice, that would have ended up in an accident. A little bit further back, there's not too much else going on. These guys still fairly close together. That's Lee, not too far behind Skid. So Lee, again, another good debut in 6th place. And another man that would have had a good debut, but unfortunately has dropped back a bit, is Mark. He was doing very well. Unfortunately, just dropping it onto the gravel at the last corner has just cost him so much time, and he's now down in 8th. We didn't see Danny, we haven't seen much of him in this race, but he has got past DTI Dave's BMW, which puts him up to 9th, and DTI Dave hanging on to 10th place there in the BMW. Sammy's still doing a stellar job in 11th, at the rear of the grid, but with a very clean, tidy car as always. And he's starting to put the pressure on DTI Dave. I think with a couple of corners to go, it's going to be too little too late. VX Dave takes the victory in round 1, and Bareback takes second just from Apex. Cordless a fine 4th position. Skids, I think, will be very happy with 5th from, I think, 9th from the starting grid. Lee, a great debut, as with Simon, very impressive. Simon in the two-tone green BMW. Mark, a little bit out of luck, unfortunately, but brings the car home 8th. Brave, with issues with the car there, spinning out a couple of times, brings the car home for 2 points. And DTI Dave, after a couple of spins, finishes 10th.